Welcome to Eastern Oregon University. This award guide will help you better understand the process of financial aid at EOU. Approximately 91% of EOU students receive some form of financial aid. These funds come in different types of aid. There are scholarships, grants, federal work-study, and loans. The largest source of aid for college students are federal student aid programs. It's important that you submit the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, early in the college searching process. You can complete the application online at fafsa.ed.gov. It is best to apply on or as soon after October 1st as possible to ensure the best chance for limited fund programs such as federal work-study and SCOG. The FAFSA is a required component for many scholarships, both private and public. So it's a good idea to submit a FAFSA application even if you think you might not use federal financial aid. Federal aid eligibility. I will introduce you to the basics of qualifying, applying, and receiving financial aid at EOU. Admission status. If you are a new student at EOU, you can apply for aid before you even started the admission process. However, you must be fully admitted to receive aid. Citizenship. To be eligible for federal financial aid, students must be U.S. citizens who possess a valid Social Security number or eligible non-citizens. Generally, you are an eligible non-citizen if you are a U.S. permanent resident and you have an alien registration card, a conditional permanent resident card, or any other eligible non-citizen with an arrival departure record for the Department of Homeland Security. If you are neither a citizen nor an eligible non-citizen, you are not eligible for federal financial aid. Undocumented students, including DACA students, may be eligible for other types of aid like scholarships or non-federal student loans. Selective service. Male students between the age of 18 and 25 must be registered with a selective service to be considered for federal financial aid. This requirement covers both citizens of the United States and most other men residing in the U.S. A man who is in the United States as a lawful non-immigrant is not required to register as long as he maintains that status. If you need to register, you can do so at sss.gov. Drug conviction. If you have been convicted of possessing or selling illegal drugs, you may not be eligible to receive federal student aid. When completing the FAFSA, please follow the instructions pertaining to question 31, drug convictions. Default or repayment status. If you are in default on a federal direct or Perkins student loan, you will not be eligible for federal student aid. You may not be eligible for other aid as well. If you owe repayments on federal student grants, you must repay in full or make satisfactory arrangements to repay before you regain eligibility. Enrollment. Generally, you must maintain at least half-time enrollment each term to be eligible for federal financial aid. For more information on enrollment requirements, see our disbursement policy page at the link provided. Satisfactory academic progress, or SAP. To remain eligible for federal aid, you must maintain SAP throughout your academic career at EOU. The SAP policy has three separate components. Grade point average. Students must have a minimum term and cumulative GPA of 2.0 each term in order to make progress. Completion rate or pace. Students must be completing at least 67% of all attempted coursework, including credits transferred in from other colleges. Maximum time frame. Students have 150% of the published time it takes to receive a degree to graduate. For complete information, please see our SAP policy page at the link provided. How we determine your award. We determine your eligibility for financial aid based upon your class level, the cost of attendance, your estimated family contribution, or EFC, calculated from your FAFSA, and your need. The cost of attendance minus your EFC equals your need. We strive to assist you in funding as much of your need as possible. We determine your eligibility for financial aid based upon your class level, the cost of attendance, your EFC or estimated family contribution number calculated from your FAFSA, and your need. The cost of attendance minus your EFC equals your need. We strive to assist you in funding as much of your need as possible. If you have unmet need or you did not receive an initial offer of enough financial aid to cover your cost of education, your parents have the option to apply for a Parent Plus loan if you are a dependent student. Alternative loans are credit score based and usually require a cosigner, and a parent can be a cosigner. How we determine EOU's cost of attendance. Every college or university determines an average cost of attendance for financial aid purposes. Typical costs include tuition and fees, books and supplies, miscellaneous personal expenses, room and board, and transportation. You can view EOU's estimated cost of attendance at the link provided. Verification. If you have just completed your FAFSA, you may be wondering what comes next. Many students will receive a financial aid award offer from their schools without any additional effort, but for some students, an additional process, referred to as verification, will be required. If your FAFSA was selected for verification by the federal processor, your school is required to complete the process and has the authority to request additional information and supporting documentation from you by federal law. Verification means that certain information on your FAFSA needs to be checked for accuracy. About 1 in every 3 students are selected by the federal processor each year. It's a measure used to ensure that the information provided on your student's FAFSA is complete and accurate. Selection is sometimes random, but a significant change to your FAFSA or a perceived error will also trigger selection. The EOU Financial Aid Office will send you notifications via email and postcard with what necessary documents are needed. The documents required for verification depend on the reason for selection. Documents typically requested include a verification worksheet, tax return transcripts retrieved directly from the IRS, W-2s, and other forms which verify information on the FAFSA. We recommend using the IRS Data Retrieval Tool, or DRT, within the FAFSA to speed up the verification process. It is the best way to satisfy the income tax information requirement in your FAFSA. If you are unable to use the IRS DRT and are selected for verification, then you must order a tax return transcript from the IRS. You will not be able to get your financial aid until your verification is complete. It is very important to bring or send the requested documents to the financial aid office as soon as possible, so we can get your aid ready for disbursement. You are more than welcome to view requested documents on your Webster account by logging in and following the steps provided. Students may contact our office with questions at any time. Generally, verification will be processed within 5 to 7 business days after receiving all required documents. It is possible, however, that the information you submit may generate further inquiries for which you will be then asked for further clarification. Students will be notified if further action is required. We prefer to call you directly, but if we cannot reach you, we will email your EOU University email account. So again, make sure to check your EOU email daily. Financial aid awards. EOU works with families to meet a student's full demonstrated financial need with a combination of gift aid and self-help aid and loans. Grants and scholarships make a bulk of the gift aid EOU offers to students. Self-help aid is money awarded to the student that must be paid back or it requires something in return, such as volunteer hours or a certain number of work hours. This includes work study, student loans, and PLUS loans. Let's go over some examples of gift aid that EOU offers to students. The federal Pell Grant is a need-based grant awarded to students who are working on their first bachelor's degree. The award amount is based on the student's expected family contribution, or EFC. Students may receive Pell Grant for any enrollment level, depending on EFC. Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. The SEOG is one of 3 federal campus-based aid programs. To receive SEOG, students must be eligible for the Pell Grant, demonstrate exceptional need, and be working on their first bachelor's degree. EOU receives a limited amount of SEOG funding. Federal SEOG funds may not serve all eligible applicants. Oregon Opportunity Grant. This program funds students attending Oregon colleges who are Oregon residents. The grant is awarded by the Office of Student Access and Completion, or OSAC, and is renewable for up to 12 terms. Application is available through FAFSA or the ORSA at oregonstudentaid.gov. Federal Teach Grant. This grant has very specific requirements that must be fulfilled after graduating. Students must agree to teach in low-income school districts and in specified high-need subject areas. Students may receive up to $4,000 a year. See the EOU Financial Aid webpage for specifics. Scholarships. Scholarships may be awarded for merit or need, or a combination of both. Scholarships can come from EOU or from outside sources. Students who receive scholarships from outside sources must notify the EOU Financial Aid Office. Scholarships are part of a student's financial aid package. In some cases, scholarships may be used to reduce or cancel other forms of financial aid. Federal Work Study. The Federal Work Study program is a need-based program. It is a college program that enables students to work part-time while attending school. Students who earn part of their financial aid by working in work-study positions receive a paycheck for the hours the student worked. Part-time employment. This could be a part-time job off campus. A listing of off-campus jobs can be found on the career exploration page provided. Loans are borrowed by either the student and/or the parents and must be repaid. Subsidized Federal Direct Loan. Subsidized direct loans are one of the 3 programs in the Federal Direct Loan Program. Subsidized direct loans have both interest and principal payments waived during enrollment at least half time and during the grace period. Eligibility for this program is based upon need, class level, yearly limits, and aggregate limits. Only undergraduates can be awarded subsidized loans. Students who borrow subsidized direct loans must complete an entrance counseling and a master promissory note, or MPN. Instructions for completing the MPN and entrance counseling can be found on the financial aid website provided. Unsubsidized Federal Direct Loan. Unsubsidized direct loans are covered under the FDL program. Unsubsidized direct loans have principal payments waived during enrollment periods at least half time and during the grace period. The student borrower must elect to make interest payments while attending school or defer interest payments. Deferred interest payments will be capitalized or added to the principal balance at repayment. Eligibility for this program is based upon dependency status, class level, yearly limits, and aggregate limits. Student borrowers who elect to borrow both subsidized and unsubsidized direct loans, if eligible for both, may complete one MPN for both programs. Borrowers who have not completed an entrance counseling must do so before completing an MPN. Instructions for completing the MPN are found on the financial aid website, eou.edu/FAO/loan checklist. Parent Loan for Undergraduate Students, or PLUS. The PLUS Loan Program is available to parents of undergraduate students. The PLUS Loan Program is credit history based. This loan is limited to the difference between the student's cost of education and the student's financial aid award. Parents who want to borrow a PLUS loan must complete a PLUS Loan certification request form, as well as an MPN. More information about the PLUS Loan and the certification request form can be found at eou.edu/FAO/FAO-forms. Grad Plus Loan. The Federal Graduate Plus Loan is available to graduate or professional students attending at least half-time. The Grad Plus Loan is credit history based. Students must use their full unsubsidized direct eligibility before applying for the Grad Plus Loan. Please contact the Financial Aid Office for more information. All student loans are subject to borrowing limits. Most student loans have several types of limits on the amount you can borrow. Annual limits specify how much you can borrow in a single school year. Aggregate or cumulative limits specify how much you can borrow throughout that loan program. And cost of attendance limits specify that a loan amount must be less than the school's official cost of attendance minus other financial aid received. Here are the annual and aggregate loan limits for federal direct loan programs. For some examples, a dependent freshman student is eligible for an annual amount of $5,500. The aggregate or cumulative amount that the student is eligible to take out over their dependent undergraduate career is $31,000. These are examples of the aggregate and yearly limits. The cost of attendance limit may be applied in addition to or instead of the annual loan limit. This loan limit is intended to prevent the total of all financial aid, including the student loans, from exceeding the college's total cost of attendance. First-time borrowing student loans. Students who are borrowing a federal direct loan at EOU for the first time must complete 3 requirements before the student loan can be dispersed. They must accept their loan through their Webster account, complete entrance counseling, and an active master promissory note online. To complete these requirements, please go to the Webster account in studentloans.gov. For studentloans.gov, you will need to log in using your student FSA ID, which is the same login as you use to electronically sign your FAFSA online. Again, loan funds cannot be dispersed until all three requirements have been met. Financial aid disbursement policy. Financial aid disbursement typically takes place prior to the start of the term, excluding summer term. The census date, which refers to the point at which enrollment is locked for financial aid purposes, is at the end of the 4th week of the term. For summer term, the census date is 4 weeks after the initial start of the term. Pell Grant will prorate and disperse accordingly to the student's enrollment level until the census date. At that point, enrollment is frozen. Student loans must be manually adjusted to match the enrollment level and will not automatically disperse for less than 12 credits. Students must notify the financial aid office if their enrollment will be less than 12 credits for undergraduates and 9 credits for graduates. Students can use the enrollment revision form to notify the financial aid office of enrollment changes. Here is the enrollment level table for EOU's students. Full-time is 12 or more credits for undergraduates and post-bac students, and 9 or more credits for graduate students. Anything less than full-time may affect your aid disbursements. When a reduction in aid is required due to a student's enrollment level on the census date, the reduction can create a balance owing on the student's EOU account. Students will need to work with the Student Accounts Office to make payment arrangements. A student whose enrollment level is less than half-time is not eligible for any federal student loans. Any current term financial aid dispersed after the census date will be based on the student's official enrollment on the census date or the actual number of credits at the time of disbursement, whichever is less. Any credits added after the census date cannot be used to increase aid eligibility. Retroactive aid for a term that has ended but is still in the same academic year, will be dispersed based on passing grades for the credits completed during the term. This includes some grants and loans with a minimum of half-time for loans. If a student is receiving a loan for just one term, for example, fall term only, the loan must have been offered, accepted, and originated before the end of the term. Contact the financial aid office for the last date to accept loans. Federal regulations mandate that a loan for a term that has already ended can be certified only if the student is currently enrolled at least half-time and there has been no gap in enrollment and the student has made satisfactory academic progress. Book vouchers. Students that are expecting a financial aid refund may be eligible for a book voucher that can be used for purchasing books at the EOU bookstore. All items purchased with a book voucher will be charged directly to the student's account and will be deducted from any financial aid refund. It is the student's responsibility to pay any bookstore charges that are placed on their account after a financial aid refund has been issued. To be eligible for a bookstore credit voucher, a student must have completed the electronic revolve charge agreement on file at the Student Accounts Office, be registered for classes, have all their prior term balances paid in full, and have a financial aid award that exceeds their term charges. To see if you have already submitted a revolving charge agreement, please check your account summary by term in Webster. To see when bookstore credit vouchers are available each term, please see the academic calendar at the link provided. We recommend placing an order with the bookstore prior to requesting a book voucher. This way, a student will know exactly how much to request and in turn make e-refunds faster and more efficient. You may order books at the EOU bookstore or online at the link provided. Payment plans. If financial aid is not ready to disperse or is insufficient to cover tuition fees and on-campus room and board costs, students can make payment arrangements with the Student Accounts Office. Students' Right to Know, Campus Security Act, and Federal Rights and Privacy Act. To view our Students' Right to Know, Campus Security Act, and Federal Rights and Privacy Act, please go to the link provided. Financial Aid Office, Students' Rights and Responsibilities. Please go to the link shown to view your rights and responsibilities as a student. EOU's email policy. The Eastern Oregon University Financial Aid Office sends email messages that contain important information. For example, emails about documents we need to finish processing your award, notices that your award is posted on Webster, satisfactory academic progress notifications, and loan processing information. These emails will be sent only to your assigned EOU email address. We expect students to access their EOU email accounts regularly and read and understand our requested information or notices sent via email. Please visit the Information Technology webpage or call the help desk at 541-962-3111 for information about setup and use of your EOU email account. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our office by dropping in Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., by email at fao@eou.edu, or by calling 541-962-3550.